ele foi o pioneiro de jogos cooperativos no mundo, ele é fundador da Zona de Excelência e um líder de renome mundial no campo do treinamento de foco para excelência em várias disciplinas por mais de 35 anos. O Terry Orlick trabalha com diversos atletas olímpicos e profissionais treinadores, líderes empresariais. Já trabalhou com astronautas, cirurgiões, músicos clássicos, dançarinos e muitos outros envolvidos em missões de desempenho. Ele tem dedicado grande parte da sua vida para ajudar crianças e adolescentes a crescer e desenvolver um forte senso de autoconfiança, harmonia e alegria em suas vidas. Com muita alegria e honra, eu chamo aqui para compartilhar com a gente o Terry Orlick, que vai abordar no seu painel o tema cooperação, excelência humana e qualidade de vida. Tá bom, Terry.
Gracias, gracias, thank you. Bom dia. I'm happy to be here today with all these wonderful people. So Brazil really is my favorite country to go to. I love coming to Brazil. So what I want to start with where I started. Like it's hard to know what you were doing when you were this big, but I still remember lots of things from when I was quite young. And I grew up in a circus family, you know, where you have circus, acrobatics, trapeze, wire walking. I came from my father, so it was my father, my mother, two sisters, brother and me. We went out and we could do a performance, hour and a half performance. So it did bring us together in many different ways. And even as a little person, like I was the one that would crawl over top of my father and over top of my mother, and like I would be at the top, and if I was not focused, I could feel everything starting to go like this. You know? So I learned quickly, like I have to focus on doing what is going to be safe and to be to achieve that goal, whatever it was, effectively. So we traveled around. We did all that kind of stuff. We in my yard we would have a wire walks, thing to wire across here. You just walk across there with a stick, and so I did a lot of stuff like that early on. And then I got involved in competitive gymnastics. So that also opened more doors for me, and diving and acrobatic kind of things. So all of that was teaching me how to focus on achieving the goals that I felt I wanted to achieve, as we're doing with children in our like in our classrooms or in the Positive Living Skills program. I want those children to leave that class that year where they have a lot of things they can do that they take home, they teach to their mother, they teach to their father, they teach to their friends. And I do teach. I've been teaching at the University of Ottawa for quite a few years. It's actually getting to the point where I have a class on quality of living. So the whole thing is on how to enhance the quality of your life, which is the only course in the university that talks about how to make the quality of your life enriched, which is probably the most important lesson you can learn. And now I had a student I guess I have about this many people in that class. So one student, before I left, told me that her mother took my course 27 years ago, and now her daughter is in my class, my quality of living class, and while learning to apply the same skills that her mother learned way back. And what I was happy to hear is her mother still uses all of those activities that we did. Because in most courses, you finish the course, you're done. You know, it's not like you're going to carry it for the next 30 or 40 years. So I'm happy about that. And well, everybody in this room with the positive living skills, if you start early, you can really make a huge difference in people's lives. And I've started with little people who are now not little people, they're growing adults, but they're still using that stuff because it has value. So whatever you're doing, I just say, like, keep doing it. It might take a while. Some people may give you pushback on, oh, what do we need that for? But in the end, they can be using almost everything in that Positive Living Skills book. Or I have also, I don't know, I wanted to mention that on iTunes, how many follow ever go on iTunes on the computer? How many people get music on iTunes? Some people do. Well, all of my audio CDs are on iTunes. So you can go, you just Google iTunes, and then you put Terry Orlick, and every track that I have on these audio CDs, you can download them, and they cost it costs 90 cents for one track. It's the same as the musicians. That's what you pay. You know, you pay that. And I have one daughter who we have a singer in where we live in Ottawa. Justin Bieber, his name is. So the young girls really like this guy. You know? So my daughter, she was maybe 12, 13 years old. She goes on iTunes to try to get something from Justin Bieber. And then I hear her yelling from the room, Dad, come in. You're on iTunes right next to Justin Bieber. You know? And that was a great highlight for me. It's probably the happiest thing that ever happened to her. Yeah, so, but if you want to get those tracks, they're easy to download. It doesn't cost that much, and you can use them in all kinds of different contexts. And one of the contexts, like, I was always open to doing, if people wanted me to do something, they'd ask me, oh, can you do this, or can you do that, or could you come and work with this team, or with this, with these people in a hospital, or. So I always said, oh yes, I can do that, you know. I can do that. I can come in and help. And one was children who had cancer. So they were not in good shape. And parents, this one little boy, he needed to get treatment. And he had to go to the hospital to get treatment. And his mother called me saying, like, he is so afraid of going in there that when they drive the car up and he gets out of the car door, he's just hanging on that car door, and they have to pull him off the car door. And when he's going through the door into the hospital, he knows what they're going to do is going to hurt him. But he also somewhere knows it's probably his best chance of survival. But anyway, I agreed. I said, yeah, no, I'd be happy to work with him. And that's when I started doing those first audio tracks. Because if he listened to those audio tracks, he could relax. And he listened to them all the time because they're in the hospital a lot of the time. You know, there's not much fun things to do. And within about, I'd say 3 or 4 weeks, he wasn't pulling on the doors, he wasn't screaming, and like before it was taking 5 or 6 physicians to hold him down while they stick these things in him, and it totally turned around. I mean, the parents were so thankful. And then other people were asking me, well, you know, could you help in this context or that context? And well, I accepted everything. I wasn't getting any money for any of this. You know, it was because I wanted to help people, and because I felt that these skills and these audio tracks could have real value. And in the end, they really did, because he could go into that hospital room and walk in and go into this room and lie on this big kind of, it's not a bench, but it's the thing they lie down when they stick things in your arms. And so he in the end, he could just walk in there by himself, get on that thing, lie down. They put the needles in his arm. He never cried, argued, screamed. And in the end, he ended up being free from cancer. And then there were other people. There were always other people asking, because they don't know what to do when something's happening, when something's not working, or their child isn't focusing on things. So that's why I started doing a lot of that stuff. But at the same time, I was also working with high performance people, Olympic athletes, elite surgeons, astronauts. Like, I was getting more and more people asking me to do things that I've never done. You know, I'm not an astronaut, but I can find out what they do. So I went down to the space station in Florida, where they train. So there were Canadian astronauts there. So I looked at all their toys, their simulators, their underwater preparation, and then they actually have to go into space. And at that time, there is a risk of not returning, or this first lunar landing. So one of our guys was up there. Something could go wrong, and then it's, you're dead, basically. So I was just trying to help them be focused and to prepare everything to give themselves the best chance of being successful in their pursuits. So I'm still working with little people, and I'm still working with high performance people. And some of the people also that contacted me, it was in combat, like fighting. You're going to another country, and they're killing people, and so they're sending soldiers, or people from Canada who are in the military are going there to see if they can help in some way or reduce the destruction in some ways. And they were very open. I never actually went into the combat environment, but I did go into their training and to see, are they simulating what's going to happen in the real world? How are they going to get better? What are they focusing on? How can they collaborate in this situation? And I would always interview people or leaders who had been there. So I'd say, okay, so this one guy was a helicopter pilot. He goes in. These soldiers are dropped off into this zone, and people are trying to kill them, basically, is what it is in that context. And so this helicopter pilot brings the helicopter in, and there's maybe 4 or 5 people really injured. There's blood or half a leg off, and they would just focus on getting him in that helicopter as quickly as they can, so they all didn't get shot. And And then in one case, the pilot was saying that he had to send one person back to get another person's leg that was on the ground, and if they didn't get the leg, they wouldn't be able to replace the leg. So things like that. I mean, this is high focus, high stress conditions. But I did start working with those people in terms of kind of, it's not that different from what we're doing here or what we're doing with kids. We're just trying to help them embrace whatever they have, give themselves the best chance, help other people in that context. And so I just found that where I started from, like I was doing I would accept anything because I learned from them. And in some cases, I actually went into these zones, into a tank or something, you know. So I didn't stay too long, but it gave me an idea of what it is in those contexts. And also, from my gymnastics background, and I had done a lot of competing in fairly high performance sport. And so I had a lot of people asking if I could work with them in preparation for a certain Olympic Games or something. But what you're doing, or what you can do in a classroom with getting people to focus, okay, so this is what you're doing, then just focus on doing that, nothing else. Just be focused here, be here, be here, be here. You know, then you can take that into any context. You can take it into a relationship, where some relationships, you may be talking to somebody, but nobody's listening. You know, the conversation is over, but like, did we really actually share anything? So, you know, you need to work some of those things. So there's a lot of things related to relationships that are on those audio CDs that I don't know how many I have now, but I have quite a few. So I think that helped me grow in a lot of ways, because you're not going to get that in a normal school setting. Some of those things you're not going to get them, but if you're put in another setting and there's high risk or high cost of failure, well, then you're going to be figuring out, okay, so how can we do this better, or how can we avoid even going in there? So so I think the more we begin this, just the basic skills, basic focusing skills, relaxation skills, changing channel skills, all those things, you're in a great position to do that when you have people in a classroom. And even the littler people, they like doing those things. You know, they pretend they're a jelly belly, or they pretend they're floating on a cloud, or they're whatever, you know. And so then they say, well, how could we use that? Well, they could use it for a lot of things, lots of different things. Okay, we're gonna pop that next one, that slide. We're done? Okay. Well, this is where I am in my, I guess, my life space. You know, on what we do with children and youth rests the destiny, quality, and overall happiness of our world. If we are not doing that with children, we're missing the boat, you know, because there can be a lot of negative things with children too, or some children excluding other people, and so it doesn't make people feel so good. So the global goal would be to have a higher level of overall happiness on the planet. And we have a lot of places where there's not a lot of happiness. You know, we have places where right now people are out there trying to kill other people in different contexts, or in different countries, or in different parts of countries. So there's gangs, you know, they're going to go in and get these people and those people, and they're shooting them, and they're Whereas there's really no reason that we have to do that. I mean, we don't come out of the womb of a mother and a little person wanting to go out and kill or cut up or blow up and we see more of that. You watch the news. It's not a lot of happy news. So they just exploded something there, or they did something like that, or so my feeling is, and probably most of you would agree, that if we were to teach children early on to be empathetic, to care about other people, to help other people, to support other people, to not exclude people. Maybe this person isn't the most perfect person in the world, but that person needs to feel valued in some way, or accepted in some way, and not rejected. And in the schools that I worked with, I really tried to get other people to be nice on other people's feelings. Like, how would you feel if you're the one who's left out? Well, I wouldn't feel very good. Okay, so, well, why don't you just do something nice for the person? Or why don't you just help the person? Or it's not that hard to do. But you need to do it. And I think some of those audio tracks early on help. Okay, next one. Okay, so this is my daughter. She's a little older than this now. Her name is Skye, S-K-Y-E. And I live in a very beautiful nature place. Like Canada's got a lot of nature. It's a big country with not that many people. So this is our little stream behind the house, and so I have some tracks on flowing stream, and I tape the music of that stream when the water's flowing in the spring. And the water coming down a stream, it always finds a way. There could be a log, a big piece of wood, there could be a big rock, but the water, if you watch it, it finds a way. It finds a way, and finally it'll get to the lake. So I use that analogy because we can flow like a stream. We don't have to be... Okay, so we have a little obstacle here, but we can find a way around it. And it could be a relationship thing, or not liking somebody, but there's always a way around it. And I use a lot of nature analogies. Next one there. Good. These are trails that I near my house. I live on a lake, and I run every day, pretty much every day, except in the winter when the snow is this high. You guys don't get all that snow here. So these trails have told me a lot, too. Can we go to the next one? So when you're running, well, I've found sometimes I'm running, I have not been I don't know where these trails go. I know they go someplace, so I have to make a choice. Well, I can turn around and go back, or I can go to the one on that side, or I can go to the one on that side, and so I'll just make a choice because I don't know what's down that trail, but I'm gonna give it a try, see what happens. So I'll go down there, and that trail could end somewhere though. So then what I do? You want to give me another slide? So on this, do you have maple leaves here? Leaves that look like this? No. Well, these are our big leaves, Canada, maple leaf on the flag. I think it's the only country that has a nature object in the center of the flag. But it's kind of what Canada is. So I was running, and these leaves come down in the autumn time, and I could see these. They're falling off the trees, they're coming down, and then I decided, well, I'm just going to run with my hands open, like that. I'm running like that, and that very leaf, I was watching it. I didn't want to grab it. I wanted it to come to me, And that leaf just turned and turned and turned, and it landed right in my hand. Now, does it really matter if a leaf falls in your hand? Probably not. But for me, it was a great analogy or a great lesson on, and it came to be, if you are open to opportunities, they will open to you. If I didn't open my hands to that thing, I would never have had that leaf fall in my hand. So there's things other than leaves that can fall into your hands if you open yourself to that possibility. Next one there. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. If you're open to opportunities, opportunities will work for you. Like, that's always been the case with me. If there was something there and someone asked me to do something, maybe I don't even know how to do it, but I'm saying, yep, I'm in. I can do it. I can help. I can learn. You know, I'll figure it out. Don't worry. So, and opening yourself to chart new paths in your school, play, work, and life, which is part of this whole positive living skills mission, is to create a better world, to create happier kids, to have more inclusive kids, to have kids who don't feel rejected, who feel accepted, who feel they are valued. All those things. Next one. Oh, so these are all the leaves that nobody ever put their hand out. All these opportunities just fall into the ground, you know. So it's probably, I don't know. That was for me, it was a big lesson, because there's thousands of these things that are just falling there and they rot away. Well, they do help. They do help in some ways, but we can have life opportunities that we let fall to the ground, or we can open ourselves, say, you know, I'm going to really do this. I don't know how to do it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. Or maybe this situation isn't that great. Well, can we do anything about it? Or is it worth it? Or so I use the nature analogies because I love the nature stuff. We're good? Yeah, so here there's this trouble in paradise. You know, we do have a pretty amazing planet, but we really need to join together to create a better and more positive world for everyone. And that will only begin with people like you and me, because otherwise a lot of people don't even care. You know, they have no empathy for other people, or they haven't been raised to be what they have the potential to be, for whatever reason. But it doesn't have to be that way. You know, if we were able to have access to those people and run what's written in a lot of my work and what I've learned from a lot of those people, and what probably all of you have learned from a lot of different people at different ages. Okay, next one. So here, you know, with new beginnings, going back upstream, like I'm thinking about that stream next to my house. Sometimes you have to go back up the stream to teach children and youth these happy living skills before they become negative or polluted. Because once they're really negative, it's hard to turn around. It's not impossible, it's hard though. You know, so next one. Yeah, so 3 essential gifts to teach to children and youth at an early age. Positive and happy focus. So if we can really be helping them focus on the positives, the good things. Fully connected focus. And that would be true for people of all ages. That's true for us too. If you're not really fully connected, well, you might as well not even be here, you know, really. Because you could be outside having some fun or something. So fully connected focus. Focusing on more harmony and compassion at all ages and in all contexts. And that we can do as well. And well, an example comes to my mind where I was asked to go to this school where these kids were difficult kids and they were quite aggressive. So they didn't fit in. They wouldn't fit into the normal school setting. So they called me and asked me if I could come and have a look at, what they're doing. I said, sure, yeah, I'd love to come. So it wasn't a big, it wasn't nowhere near as big as this room. It might have been just to the yellow there and then to here. And there's one teacher, and so I played the audio, the positive living skills audio tracks. So they'd lie on the ground. I said we have to lie down, listen to the voice, try to do what it says. If it says relax, do that, do that, do that, do that. And there was one boy in there who was big, like he was like way bigger than me, like big kid. And he was the teacher saying you have to be careful of that guy, because he's very aggressive. I did talk with him, and I set up some of the audio CDs but he loved the audio CDs. So the teacher, she made that audio CD in the corner. If you were really good and you did all your stuff and your artwork or whatever, then you are allowed to go to that table and pick any audio track you want and listen to it. So this kid, I was away, I was there and then I was away and I'd come back and so the teacher told me, this kid loves going into that corner and listening to those audio CDs. And just that day at recess, he went out to the recess area, and normally he will hit people out there. You need to watch the guy. He comes in after that. He said, "Oh yeah." So I said, "How did it go out there?" "Oh, it's good. It was good." I said, "What was good?" He said, "Well, I was running after Anna, and I was just gonna punch her, and then I did a one breath. I stopped. I did a one breath, one breath relaxation. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe out, and I walked away." So this kid was a very aggressive kid. He could probably knock me over pretty easily, but he was so happy that he had another way, and he ended up being nice to that person. And the other stuff I did early on with these kids in grade 3, so they're, pretty young. And I had, I did, that was the ones I started with, and they helped me create a lot of those activities. And then the school closed. And this was maybe, maybe, I'd say it was about, they were in grade 3 then, and I wanted to find them and do a follow-up on what they're doing. Are they actually using anything anymore? And I did find, not everybody, but I found quite a few of them through their parents. And now they were, from grade 3, they were in, I think, 11th grade, like their last year of high school. So I called the parents, said, is it okay if I could talk to your daughter or your son? They were in our program, and oh, yeah. So, and it was quite amazing for me that all of those kids who were in that program in grade 3 were still using those activities in all kinds of different contexts. Some of them were involved in sports, some were involved in music, some of them were involved in having to finish certain assignments where they were getting stressed out so they can do a one breath relaxation. So that, for me, that was a great discovery because it really worked. When they were 3, in grade 3, well, I could see changes taking place, but I didn't really know if 7 or 10 years down the line that they're still using them, and probably by now they would be teaching their kids these skills. So it's not hard to do. It's not expensive to do. All you do is you get the tracks. You can copy the tracks, or you can go to iTunes for 99 cents. So it's probably worth 99 cents to have a better world. So anyway, we were rolling all that back in. Next one here. Yeah. Positive focusing skills are the greatest gifts of life. I totally agree that. If you can live and nurture positive focusing skills, focusing on the positives. Yeah, there's stuff that's not so positive, but we can focus on the positives, or look for the positives, or remember the positives. And I've kind of have you are or become what you focus on. In the end, if you're focused on all the negatives, or if that big kid was just focusing on the negatives and punching everybody he could, he'd probably be in jail by now, or he certainly wouldn't have a high quality life. Next one. So this is a reality here. Children, youth, adults do not begin their lives with negative intentions or the desire to hurt, destroy, or do harm to other people. I mean, you don't have a little baby coming out of the womb saying, "Oh, I think I'm going to go and hurt this other little baby," or it's so it's I think the earlier we can be modeling this, whatever it is, the better we're going to be. Next one. Okay, so here we have, well, the center, for me, the center of quality living, happy living, productive living, it's being able to have this positive, the center of it is a positive focus and a fully connected focus in pretty much everything. And so that will if your focus is positive, or you see, the people you're working with, if it's positive in a sport context or play context or a school context or music context or whatever it is, dance. So we're working on, okay, let's stay positive, let's look for the positive, let's do the positives, let's grab the lessons on the positives, and be connected to what you're doing, because if you're disconnected, you might as well not even be there. So for quality learning, quality performance, and quality living. And the other thing, because I work with high performance people as well, I've done a lot of work with people who are the best in the world at some things, or they're among the best in the world, or they're among the best teams in the world, or they're all Olympic athletes, they're Olympic medalists. So again, I just stayed. I got people calling me and asking if I could help this team or that team, or So I went to many Olympic Games. I learned a lot about those, about what they have to do to perform to their capacity. Or with classical musicians, they have issues too. Everybody has issues about something. Okay, next one. Focusing for excellence and joyful living. So here's what we need. We need that positive focus in the center. So you have to somebody has to make a commitment to make this happen. So part of that is, and with these athletes, if they're not performing well, I'm saying, okay, so do you really care? I mean, are you really committed to this? You know what high performance athletes do to become the best in the world? They don't just go out there for 20 minutes and say, oh, I'm tired, I'm going to go have a rest. They have a high level of commitment. Without a high level of commitment, it's not going to happen. Being mentally ready. So I work a lot with, okay, how do you get ready to be your best, or to perform your best, or to be your best in this context or this relationship? How can I get ready to do that? So they have to write out a plan. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. Positive images leading into things. I mean, you may not know what you can do, or you may be a little concerned about maybe you're not going to do so well, or so then I'm saying, well, just imagine yourself doing the good things. There's no reason why you can't do it. You've done it like 10 times. You could probably do it 100 times. So then they start to call up positive images, or talk about what are the good reasons you have to be confident that you can actually do this. Well, I did this, I did that, I did that, I did that. I want to do it. It's really the center of my life. I want to make this happen. Okay, well then you can do it. You just have to bring your focus to these things and to ongoing learning, grab the lessons and move on. Next one. The other thing that I've worked on are highlights. So in my classes, well, these quality of living classes, they have to keep a highlight journal. And you should probably try that sometime. So, and then I collect their highlight journals. So I have like all these great things that people are doing. I mean, sometimes they don't have everything in there, but close. So these are the main highlights that I've found from a lot of people in terms of enhancing their life. Human interaction highlights. That's big. Nature highlights. It's big. It's big for me. It's probably big for a lot of you guys. Relaxation highlights. You know, we have a busy group here, but probably you could relax a little more. You could take a little more time for you, you know, because you're spinning your wheels, and sometimes I am too. So then I try to take a step back and say, okay, you know, I need recovery time. I don't want to be, like, you don't want to be working all the time. You want to help people, but not all the time. So you got the nature, relaxation, and I have those relaxation tracks. Personal discoveries can be a huge highlight. Different positive sensations, any kind of accomplishment, play, activity, sport. So they keep that journal, and then they hand me in the journal. And when you look at those journals, they are doing a lot of good things. You know, and I'm even looking, wow, like these people, they're really doing this. It doesn't take that long. Like every day, just look for 3 or 4 highlights, or there's something you really love to do, but you haven't done it for, I don't know. So just go do it. You can come back, because usually you're going to feel better from having done it than otherwise. So different kind of sensations, like say swimming or whatever it is. So they have to keep that highlight journal. Next one. So for the highlights for positive, happy, and compassionate living, here's what I've got here. Find multiple highlight domains. Some people only have highlights in one area. That's all they do. They don't do anything else, which I don't think, I mean, it's better than nothing, but it's good to have some diversity in highlights. Enjoy a variety of happy highlight activities. Go treasure hunting for highlights. Little kids love that. You know, the little kids in school, so what I would do is say, okay, we're going on a treasure hunt for happy highlights. So anything that's happy, that they like, they see a flower, they see a bird, they see something, somebody helps them up, somebody does this. And those little people, then they were drawing their highlights, and they'd stick them up all over the room, and others say, oh, that's a highlight, what's that one? You know, they'd be learning about highlights. And even the follow-up ones, they were still doing it. You know, that was a great discovery for me. Highlight clicker. I do have highlight clickers, these little highlight clickers. Well, the ones that I first had were about this big. They came from China. They're big, little too big for little people. So then I went to China not long ago again, and they have these little teeny ones. I might have a few ones. You can slip it right over your finger. You just slip it on your finger, and you just click it. Click, 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 click. And it goes up to about 300. So I click one, there's a highlight, 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 highlight. I can go for a run and have 100 highlights. I see that, I see this, I see that, I see the ocean, I see this. So you have it, and click, 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 and then they would come in, say, well, how many highlights did you have today? Well, I had 4. I had 800. You know, it's like click, 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 click. They don't cost much. I was doing some work in China, and I found these things. They're way cheaper in China than they are here, which is a good sign. But you could still afford a couple of highlight clickers. So share the other ones here, getting the highlight clickers, sharing happy highlights with others, playing highlight games, singing songs of praise to others. That's another one. Well, I can give an example of, it was our women's national Olympic basketball team. I worked with that team for quite a while. It's all women. 2 women coaches, one man coach, and I traveled with them. I went to big events with them, so I find that, like, if I actually go places with people, especially in a sport context, they value that. Even if I don't do anything, I'm like a reminder. And if they are struggling, I'm there. You know, that's all. I'm there. If anybody wants to talk to me, I'm here. This is my room number, or we can meet there or outside. And so what I did in that context, where it says sing songs of praise to others, we were at a training camp, and I put these marker, you know, these big sheets of paper that are on a flip chart. So I went out and bought that at some store, and then I stuck them up on the walls all the way around the gym, and then I put that athlete's name in big print, then the next athlete and the next athlete, and then we had some magic markers. So then I asked, when I came in, I put them up, and also I put the coaches' names on one sticker. I put my name on one of the other ones. So I said, okay, I want you to go to every one of your teammates and coaches thing, and just write something positive about that person. Something you like, because they would tell me, if I was meeting with them, they would tell me how much they appreciated what this athlete did, or that one did, or where the coach did that, but they never actually told each other. So I can really remember that day still, because everybody had this big, all these great things that people had never told them, but actually believed about them and appreciated about them. And then at the end, every single person on that team, even the physios, the coaches, and me, I put a sticker up there too, see what I'd get. and they still have those things. And I still have one in my office. because people you don't have a lot of people coming and telling you how great you are, or you're thankful for this or thankful for that, but here everybody did it, and everybody gained from it. Okay, next slide here. Yeah, so if we begin teaching these happy living skills to children early, a lot of things are going to change quickly. Next one. That's the old highlight clicker. Highlight clickers can help, but these new ones are way better, and they're cheaper too. So they're little highlight clickers. Next one. And these are another thing of what I call pillars of focus. Focus listening, focus seeing, focus learning, focus playing, focus reading, focus feeling, focus love and joy, focus reflection. Because these are all areas that you can enhance your life by embracing them. Next. So here's kind of what things we're working on. Focus listening, focus seeing, focus learning, focus performing, focus reading, feelings, focus on being positive and joyful living, and more joyful reflection on things. If you set that as a goal, want to put the next one up? Put that as a goal. And the other thing that I would do in a group, even a group this big, if I had collected things, so it could be like little stones outside. There's little stones, and I give everybody a little stone, and then I want you to look at the stone, be quiet, be very focused, and then you're going to mix them up, and you're going to find your little one. And then you're going to do one by feeling. You feel it. Okay, so it's got a little bump here, it's got a little hole here. So then we pass it. Is that yours? No, that's not mine. Is that yours? No. So it just gives you, it makes you more present. And when you're here, you're here. And if you're not here, you might as well be somewhere else, doing something else. Like, why be here if you're not here? And you can drive home that message. So you have to read a chapter in a book, or someone has to read something. So if you just flip through it, well, what do you know? You know nothing at the end, except your hands sore. So, yeah, I do a lot of that. Focus on being fully connected on whatever you're feeling or experiencing. Next one. So I do a lot of these focus plans. Extend the time that you're fully connected in ways that you want to be. Refocusing plan, shortening the time you're distracted. So maybe you do something that's not so good, or you make a mistake on something, so if you can shorten that time, you have a plan. Your focus plan ideally is this. This is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to do it. This is who I'm going to do it with. And if they say that, I'm not going to get upset about it. I'm just going to say, well, it's a good point. And then here, maybe what do we do about that? Or so you kind of eliminate a lot of the negativity. And it's no sense dwelling on certain things for too long. Next one. So this is my lake in the winter. This is my daughter, Sky, in the winter, skating on the lake. So she would be really enjoying that, because there aren't many people on this lake. It's not that far from the city, but I love that lake. All the seasons. I do everything I can out there. Okay, next one. Okay, so this one day, it snowed, there's ice under it, it snowed. She has a hockey stick, and we're walking across the lake, and I see her, she's got that stick. I'm wondering, so I come up, I said, well, what are you doing? She said, I'm following the path with heart. So she had these hearts go all the way across the lake. There's nobody out there, just me and her. She's got her stick, and she keeps going. There's another heart, another heart, another heart. So, I mean, you could do that without actually doing the heart, or you could do it on paper, or people could do it on paper, or it could be a reminder. Well, not everything's going to be great today, but a lot of it is going to be of value, or the people you're with are of value, and so we can take advantage of that and be appreciative for that and happy for that. Next one. So here's the thing. The first one on this is, I remind myself of this. First thing is, first of all, you are alive. We think you're alive anyway. Like everybody on the planet here, in this room, we have people who are alive. There's a lot of people who are not alive today. So we might as well at least be thankful. If you wake up in the morning and you're alive, yeah, we got another day, let's do something. Not like, oh no, what's it doing out there today? It's raining. Like, oh. You're alive, be happy. Appreciating good people, expressing appreciation, small steps, opportunities, appreciate them, appreciate effort, simple joys, and your power of choice. You have a lot of power of choice. Okay, next. So this now is winter. Here's Sky in winter. It can be quite beautiful in the winter. It's cold. It is cold though. But once you get used to it, you'll survive. Next one. This is I know I got 1 minute here for this. So we have this being aware of a non-appreciation trap. So my example is, you go out, you buy a beautiful painting. Maybe there's a store here, it's a beautiful painting, and it's so lovely, and so you buy it, you bring it home, and you're all excited, and you put it up on the wall somewhere, and then for the first week or two, you're saying, oh, look at the beautiful painting, look at the beautiful painting. In a month, you don't even see the painting. You come in the door, it's there, but you don't look at it. So it's a non-appreciation trap. It could be with people too. People help you. They do this, they do that. And we can be thankful for that, and we can tell people that. So like all of these things, the nature things, beaches, oceans, good people, opportunities, simple joys every day, living paintings in your life. You've got a lot of stuff. And you have a lot of stuff that you can help other people embrace at early ages, where they're appreciative of what they have. And a lot of people don't have anything. A lot of people don't even have food. You know, a lot of places it's conflict. You know, they're starving or they're shooting each other. So, and the simple joys, we are all capable of embracing every day. If you look for them, I mean, I could say, well, I have like 800 happy joys here today. Even more, you know? And then there's going to be another one. And there's another one. And then a couple of people are going to be thinking on the way home, oh, maybe I should think about that. Maybe I should throw out that painting, sell it, or something, or look at it. But being aware of what you can appreciate. And we have a lot that a lot of people don't have. Next one. So retention of purpose. If you're going to keep the joy in the pursuit, you got to have a reason to do it. Focusing on the positives, focusing on things that make a difference. Keep the joy in the pursuit. Next. 1, 2. And I do have these journals that, well, my students pretty much have to complete these journals. Fourth year university students, but they get a lot out of it. In the end, they get a lot out of it. So focus enhancement, life enhancement, learning enhancement, performance enhancement, relationship enhancement, quality of living enhancement. So you could pick one to say what would be the one that could be of value to you. Like I'm good on this, but I'm not so good on that one. So why don't I do something about that? It's not that hard. Next. So now we're back to my stream. That's the stream up behind my house. Next one. So yeah, so I'm suggesting to you, if you focus on the journey and enhance the overall happiness of your life, that's a pretty good place to be. You know, why not? Like you could walk out that door and just look down. You could walk out. I mean, you have a beautiful place here. It's a beautiful country. You got all kinds of beautiful nature stuff. You got really nice people. I mean, so far, anyway. So we want to breathe now, live now, appreciate now, be here now, learn now, enjoy now. Live the lessons you are learning now. So what are you going to remember from today? Maybe nothing, maybe something, maybe a little bit. Maybe it'll inspire you to try something. And then we move forward. I think we're out of time. So thank you so much for your focus. Good. We're good. Oh, wait a minute. Hold it. Okay, one last thing. Can you hold this for me? You can stand up. My partner. So, you know the word decide? You say, well, I decide I'm going to, I decide I'm going to do this. I'm going to decide I'm going to do that. I decide I'm going to go read that book. No, I decide I'm going to get that. I'm going to do this. So the word decide, a lot of people never act on it. They say they're going to do it, but they don't do it. So what I have now is a new word for the English language, which maybe you can translate into your language. So here it's do side. You actually do it. You don't it. You don't diet. You do it. So here's the white one. Here's the white do side. You can get any color you want. Maybe it'll make me rich. Who knows? Do side, do side, do side, do side. Act on your positive intentions. And you are capable of doing that. But I don't have enough shirts for you. Have to wait for another year. Can get a big size, little size. Could put out it on here, do side here. Remember? Do side, do it, do it, do it. Okay. Thank you again.